Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and making some really good trades as per usual. And right now, let's get right into it. A little bit of in a rush, but I'm going to be covering everything very quickly. I mean, not too quickly, hopefully. But right now, we'll start off with the IWM as per usual. And the IWM had a nice little update, 76 basis points. It actually closed at the resistance level that I've outlined here, between the 1 and the 2, and this is essentially my target for the IWM. I do have a little bit of a higher one here, right around 188.75. We almost reached it today, but again, it seems to be struggling because we keep getting these big pops and it keeps getting sold off immediately right afterwards. So again, maybe it's just putting in consolidation before its next leg up. If you guys did not notice today, the SPX actually broke its July high. So actually that's confirmation that we should be going higher to new all-time highs. I know it's a little bit preliminary because a lot of things can go wrong and maybe it's a fake out, but again, that should be the situation that we're in now. But yeah, overall, the count remains the same for the IWM. If it's something different, then I'll redo the entire account for a bullish pattern, but I don't see one at the moment for the IWM. Let's take a look at the SPY. So the SPY actually is now significantly, well, I wouldn't say significantly, but it is definitely over its July high here. It's running into some pretty, big resistance considering this is the previous pivot. But we managed to float up throughout the rest of the day. You guys saw the big sell-off. You can go through the intraday here, and essentially big sell-off, or sorry, big pump, then big sell-off on the job numbers, and then gentle float up throughout the entirety of the day. So again, light volume is going to carry this market higher and higher and higher until it doesn't, and then we'll get a retrace and a pullback. But yeah, maybe this will continue until the end of the year, and then we'll get a big retrace in January, right? So this can go on and on and on and on. Let's take a look at the triple Q. So again, similar situation. The Qs actually did not make a higher high. Surprisingly, you'd think that the Qs would do another high, but it didn't. And it actually just retraced back to its previous pivot close. Previous close here, and then it just kind of stalled out. But overall, same situation as the SPY. So this bullish count here, this bearish count, may very well have been validated today. As you guys can tell, we had a pierce, a very small pierce, but it's still a pierce, right? So again, took out the July high. We had it here at 46.07 and 7 cents, and this one was 46.09 and 23 cents. So I know it's very slight and it's not much, but again, it's still an invalidation. I believe you still have bearish divergence building on the 4-hour, but right now it looks like you can go higher. So don't discount it. Do not try and get too much in front of this. You can play with puts and here and there, but just know what could be coming is a possible melt up, right? But I would prefer a retrace first and then a huge rally. Let's take a look at, let me just see here, market cipher. So nothing on the IWM really. It's just relaxing at the zero line in terms of money flow. It's run into resistance. You got a red dot here on daily. The weekly looks bullish, right? You got a trend reversal signal, but we've seen these trend reversal signals fail before. We'll have to see if this one will confirm it. We are a little bit extended on the VWAP, so we'll have to see what happens next week. Next week we do have CPI, right? So a lot of things can go wrong or go right. Let's take a look here at the Dow Jones. Sorry, not the Dow Jones, the SPY. The SPY printing a very bullish candle here, a -5 and a 15. So again, this is indicating that we have more upside to go. And the weekly is starting to slow down in terms of momentum, but we'll have to see what we get next week. IWM today, nothing too much on the daily, nothing special. Didn't really see any signals. We did get a red cross on the futures here, but we'll have to follow up with that to see if we actually get any significant selling. So nothing on the 4-hour either, or the 1-hour. You didn't really get too much selling. You actually got that green cross, and it played out to the upside. And the SPY, let's take a look here on the daily. Nothing on the daily, nothing on the 4-hour, and nothing on the 1-hour. So overall, just very flat. We can check the futures. Futures, you did get a lot of selling today on the 1-hour. The 4-hour, nothing there, just a red cross, nothing on the daily, I believe. So yeah, just a gap up. But again, just know that this is actually futures contract rollover. So it's not actually a big gap up, right? So it'll probably readjust itself next week, but overall, this was just a gap up from the futures rollover, futures contract rollover. Okay, so let's take a look at some individual names here. Let's take a look at StarBucks. So StarBucks, try to firm up here, try to hold its low, could be getting ready for a pump up in wave 2. You would need a break above 97.7 to confirm it. And once you do, you could very well be headed to the 102 area. Let's take a look at PayPal. PayPal right here. There we go. PayPal, nice little surge today on the 1-hour time frame. You can see we dipped earlier, then pumped up higher, but did not make a new high. So we'll have to see if it's just chop before its next leg down, or if it wants to push higher in wave 5. Okay. Let's take a look at ROKU. ROKU is still consolidating. It actually was up 2% today, but it's still making lower highs and lower lows, right? So it could be in a downtrend or just a very short-term downtrend, or maybe it's putting in bullish consolidation before pushing higher, okay? And finally, let's take a look here at NVDA. NVDA got a very nice little pump today. I believe we are wave C, and we should be finishing up maybe right around the 488 level. And after that, we could possibly start to flip this as resistance and then start to come back down in wave 3. But we'll have to see next week. All right, so I don't really have much to add here. Overall, you know, cryptos are pumping and it's a lot of risk on. This entire market is very risk on. Everyone's sort of getting, again, like I said, like multiple times, they're getting on one side of the trade. And when something like that happens, I tend to either start to exit longs and get into shorts, right? And start to get risk off, because usually most of the time, you know, CNBC and all those, they're going to be wrong, right? And like they were wrong down here about this, we're going to crash, and you know, all the news was terrible. Now the news is dandy and rosy and everything's perfect, right? And we're actually getting really bad economic numbers, and the market is loving it because they think we're going to get a soft landing. But again, that's up to interpretation and how you want to interpret it. But overall, that's how I see things. I don't think that things are perfect. Looking at wave 2 here, we should be coming back up on oil. And if we can break back above this trend line, that would be bullish. We might have put in a final low here for oil, and maybe we'll have to readjust the count. And maybe wave, you know, I don't think wave Y is in, but I think this is the most likely scenario that you keep coming down in oil. So right now, this is really bullish because it's deflationary in the short term. But in the long term, this is going to cause a lot of problems, right? This is going to cause a significant amount of problems in terms of recession talks and stuff like that. And there are demand problems, right? That's why the producers like ExxonMobil, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, let me see. There's just so many. I'm not going to name all the oil companies, but overall, their stocks are not doing well at all. And let's take a look here at the dollar, and we'll take a look at yield. So the dollar holding above its 200-day now. We'll have to see if next week we can push higher. But overall, the dollar got a nice little bottoming tail last week, and we'll have to see if we get a follow-up pump on next week's weekly candles. Because right now, the dollar can still push higher, believe it or not. The market is ignoring the bearish indicators right now because they're very optimistic about the you know, rates getting cut and it's all good news. It's all good news. There's no bad news. Bad news is good news, and good news is good news. So that's the market environment that we're in, right? There's no finding it otherwise other than that. But yeah, 10-year coming back down to this level here, trying to come back up. We'll have to follow up next week to see if we get more upside in the yields, or if we're gonna get a big crash in yields, right? And rates are gonna go to 0. No, I don't think rates are going to 0. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. I don't really have much to add. Let me see if on Owenda we made a nominal high on the S&P. 446.09.9. 4609.8. So no, not on Oenda, but the SPX chart is showing that we broke the high. So essentially, we should have invalidated this pattern here, unless it's just, you know, maybe I'm forcing it, or I would not like this pattern anymore. I don't like it as much. I like it significantly less. And if you were to try and, you know, play this out, you'd have to completely recount everything, and this would change everything, right? It would change the entire count. But for the time being, this is the bullish one, right? This is the bullish one. Things are looking like we may pump a little bit higher before we go lower, but overall, things are looking good. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.